Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of What's the Rate? I am your host, Breonn Lyons, and this is the show where we discuss the raw and realness of pursuing creative success as a self-funded artist in their 20s in New York City. Now, the reason why I created this show was because I thought it was very important to discuss the journey as it happens. So many times do we hear about people who are already successful and they're like, oh, back when I was grinding, working the 9 to 5 and things like that, this is what that was. But I just thought it'd be very important and very relatable to discuss the journey as it happens. And I believe there's other artists out there that can resonate with it, especially the ones that didn't have the most seamless transition out of college. This one is definitely for you. And in this season, we'll be talking about tips, hustle, work-life balance, the transition from post-grad life to your career, the transition out of college into post-grad life and things of that nature. And most importantly, how to get your foot in the door. I decided to name this show What's the Rate because I feel like that is a question all of us indie artists know so well. I mean, that is the $1 million question. What's the rate? Okay, cool, you want me on your project, but what's the rate though? What are we getting into that bag? What is in that bag? What's in the bag for me? Anyways, I believe what's the rate is a question that we all know so well, that we hear all the time, we say all the time, we trade all the time. So I just felt like that was a perfect title for this show as we discuss who we are, what we have to offer, what our visions are, and hopefully we could cross-communicate, cross-collaborate, and build. The people that you see on this season, I believe, are definitely kicking ass in terms of the transition from college into post-grad life into their careers. And I believe that the stories that they have can be very beneficial to other artists out there that are going through the same thing. Now, for this first episode, I wanted to discuss some of my experience and just talk more about what I've been through and how I pretty much got to where I am today. So, coming out of college, I was mainly focused on staying in New York City. So, I graduated from NYU Tisch with a BFA in drama. Okay, she is trained. She is an actress. Okay. So I graduated in 2023. Now, as soon as I graduated, my main focus was staying in New York City. I'm from Colorado, and I believe that there isn't really much out there for me in Colorado in terms of what I want to do, and the possibilities are endless living in New York City. So immediately coming out of college, my job was working in retail. I won't say the name of the store, but I was not happy there. I didn't like it at all. And it's really interesting because there were a lot of regulars that came in and I got to talk to them and they knew that I was an actress and everything like that. And they were like, girl, you don't belong here. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So I chose to use it to my benefit. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be here working 6 days a week, I'm going to use it to my benefit. So I was like, put me on the register. And I worked in Soho. So many people who were very well connected and well established came through Soho. It didn't matter, what your status was. The retail store that I worked at, I mean, anybody and everybody could come through that store. I was on the register and I would network while I was on that register. And a lot of notable people came through. I mean, Yara Shahidi, G-Eazy, there was a lot of really cool people. Honey Balenciaga, okay, it was really cool. So one day, one of my regulars came in and they were like, Breonn, like, why don't you go around Chelsea and hand your resume out and see if you could get a job at the Food Network? And I was like, wow, that's actually an amazing idea. So I put a plan together. I went into Starbucks the following Saturday and I was like, what are the top production companies in New York City? So I Googled all of them and then I printed out 10 resumes to hand out on foot to all these production companies. I had a whole itinerary together of where I was going to go, when, and in what order. And I knocked on doors. I buzzed in and I was like, hey, my name is Breonn. This is what I do. And here's my resume if you have any openings that are in. Majority of them were receptive. And one of which, it was a photography studio. He hired me almost immediately. So as soon as I got the okay from him, I called my retail job and I was like, I'm not coming back. But before I made that call, I remember I was on the phone with my mother and I was like, Mom, I cannot do this retail job anymore. I am so unhappy. They make me feel terrible about myself, and I just feel like I'm wasting my life away. And as I was on the phone with her, I'll never forget, and I have the photo in my phone, I'll never delete it because it meant so much to me, because I was at such a crossroad and at a standstill, I didn't know what to do. This man walks by and he has a shirt on that says "Bet on yourself." So I go up to him, I'm like, I'm so sorry, sir. Like, I know I'm crying and like, you don't know me, but can I please take a picture of the back of your shirt? Cause it means so much to me. Like, you don't understand. And he's like, sure. Like, so he lets me do it. And he's like, I wish you the best, both of them. They're like, I wish you the best, like with whatever you have going on or whatever. So immediately I quit my job at the retail store and I take this job at the photography studio. Now, at the photography studio, literally, it was just very verbally abusive, to say the least. Eventually, it got to a point where I was like, you know what, screw this and screw you. I'm done with this. I'm done taking this disrespect. I'm just going to leap out on faith and just see what God has in store for me. So I do that. And it's funny because that's the same week that my mother comes to visit me in New York. So it all works out. So for this week, I'm completely jobless. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just like, I just know that God's got me. So literally the day before my mom leaves, we're sitting there having dinner and I get a email saying, hey, Breonn, we have a job opening and we would love to hire you for it. Please let us know if you're still interested. And it was one of the places that I had handed my resume out to before I worked at the photography studio that I did on foot, right? Turns out I do the interview, I get the job. Turns out it's this exact job that I have right now at Gotham Production Studios. And literally to this very moment, I am so grateful to be working here because I feel like I work in an environment where I not only get to make connections and practice editing and audio and things like that, but truly the work environment supports who I am as a creative, as a person, this, that, and the third. So it truly is in alignment. I really do believe that this entire process was in alignment. Now, I start with that story because I believe it's very important, because it shows that if you take a risk and if you take a leap and you just step out on faith, that God will catch you. Now, not to get super religious on this show, but I am a deep believer in God because he's caught me so many times. And I just really believe that this was a moment where he did do that for me. And he was just waiting for me to meet him halfway, in the sense of figuring out when enough was enough and when I was ready to step into my power. So I truly believe that when you do that, he does meet you halfway and he gives you exactly what you want. Now, moving into the tidbits of what I have on this show. So, as I said before, this is going to be a show where I bring on guests that are in their mid to late 20s, that pretty much are self-funded and that are based here in New York City. They do a bunch of different things. They're all creatives, though. And I just want them to share their narrative with you guys and share their story as I did with you, because I just want to show that it's possible. And most of all, I want to build a community for people who are just like us and want to step out on faith, or want to move to New York City, or want to pursue their creative endeavors or what have you, and might be scared or might not have a community or any sort of type of direction. So that's what this is for. The specific experience that turned the light bulb on in my head to create this show was when I was out at a bar and I was talking to this girl, and we were just talking about post-grad life and literally the life immediately after graduating, and how that was really hard for us. I didn't go straight home after college, and I didn't have my mom and dad pay my rent for me. That's no knock to anybody who has their parents paying the rent for them, but it's a different type of narrative that you gain from literally not being able to pursue your artistic endeavors like 24/7 and whenever you have free time, because you don't really have free time. Now, in that, I was working 40 hours a week, a little bit of overtime even at that retail job, and not to mention where I was living was extremely toxic and literally was so insane and was very, very bad for my mental health. It was the darkest year of my life coming out of college. Like, literally, photography saved me because I was barely making enough money to live in New York City. but I just knew that I couldn't go home. I mean, there were the experiences I had coming out of college. I mean, people, scamming me, ghosting me when they owe me money, people using my photos in literally international publications and not giving me any type of credit whatsoever. People telling me one thing and it's another. I mean, the list goes on. People being absolutely nasty to me, and that's not me sitting here playing a victim at all, but it's to show you and to tell you that you cannot give up. The amount of times that I literally just sat in my shower and cried, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing and why I'm still here, but I just knew I had to keep going. I couldn't go back home. There was nothing for me there, absolutely nothing for me there aside from my family. And something that I do want to also say is that every single day, even coming out of that dark moment, that dark year of my life, and where I'm at now, I still miss my family like every single day. It does not get easier, and I'm sure a lot of people who moved across the country or just moved states to pursue their dreams feel the same way, so I say that to extend my support in that regard as well. It's hard, to sacrifice family time for your career, but something that my parents always remind me is that this is your life, and it makes us happy to know that you are living your life to the fullest and you're chasing your dreams and you're doing what makes you happy. So I hope that helps somebody out there as well. But man, it's been a fun ride. Now, I guess I'll talk more about my career. So a lot of people know me for being a photographer. That's really what kind of started the ball and got the ball rolling for me. So when I was a junior in college, I shot for Runway 7 for New York Fashion Week. And there I met a PR manager who put me on their email list. So they were running a whole bunch of events. They were doing PR at a whole bunch of these very, very high caliber galas and parties and things like that. So I would go there and shoot for free because I was like, at least I'm in this room and at least I can network and this, that, and the third. And when I tell you I was in there doing all that I could, I was like, here's my phone number, here's my email. I'm also an actress, this, that, and the third. I photograph, so I would love to photograph you whenever you want to shoot, things like that. So I was working the room, baby. I was working the room. And even then I had people that were yelling at me, get out the way and move, kid. Oh my gosh, I'll never forget this one season of Runway 7 where this man was screaming at me in the pit, you need to get out the way. I'm a house photographer. Da, da, da. All that to say, you go through a lot. Okay, and you still got to work that room. So that's what I did. And from there, I was able to shoot for someone who needed a publication for the US Sun. And I say all that to say that I really do believe the connections that I made shooting in the press pit for Runway 7 snowballed into a lot of the connections that I have now. So yeah, I was just photographing at galas. I was photographing after parties. I was photographing parties. Like, it was really cool. And meeting producers, meeting designers, meeting hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. It was really, really cool. And a lot of funny stories and experiences that came out of that. I don't really categorize myself as a specific type of artist because I do so many different things, and I just believe being multifaceted is a superpower. I remember in college people would tell me you need to pick one thing and you need to go all the way with it, but while that could be true in some regard, I also kind of just feel like, why not do it all? You know what I mean? I love it. Actress, dancer, photographer, painter, sound engineer, producer, manager, all the things, model, I guess you could put that on there too. So yeah, it's been a very fun journey, but it also has been a very hard one. For a while, especially working at my retail job, I was like, I don't feel like I'm a real artist because I spend most of my time surviving and trying to pay the bills and things like that. But when you realize that if you aren't blessed with, like, a a six-figure job coming out of college immediately, or you don't have somebody sponsoring you or paying for your basic needs or your rent or things like that. It's hard, you know what I mean? It's tricky, but it's not impossible. And that is the main reason why I wanted to create this show, is to show everyone and to tell everyone that it is not impossible. If you have to split your time, you have to focus on surviving this, that, and the third. All you have to do is make it happen for yourself and to have faith. And I believe that that is what was embedded with me printing out those resumes and walking on foot. And another reason why I chose to print them out and to do it on foot and in person is because I just don't believe in Indeed, Handshake. I don't believe in that. That's no shade to those companies, but I mean, you can only learn so much about someone over the screen, right? Like, I really do believe in energy and meeting people in person, and I really do believe that that's what got me this job at Gotham Production Studios. Moving forward and looking ahead, what I plan to do with my career and what I want, obviously I'm going to be winning that Emmy. That's what I want, but I just see so much for myself. I see myself as a model in Italy and in New York City. I also see myself as a fashion designer in New York City. I also see myself as a musical artist and producing my own album and doing visuals for that. Also as a performance artist and doing live art installations and things like that. A dancer, you know, the list goes on. There's so many things that I want to do, and I don't want to put myself in a box. So I'm very excited for what is in store for me. And in that, I'm hoping to cultivate community with people who are similar to me and have the same heart and ambition. And that's the intention that I put in this show, is to build a community of people who are just like me, who really had to hit the ground running coming out of college and are still making it happen for themselves and are seeing success and are seeing the fruits of their labor. I'm recording this, I'm making my cards, I'm editing it, I'm putting it all out. I'm producing it. It's all me. I'm doing the guests. All me, babe. So, as I always do with all my projects. So yeah, that's what this show is. Welcome to What's the Rate? And I am so excited for what's to come for this show. And it's going to be great. It's going to build community. It's going to extend. It's going to share. It's going to grow. It's going to expand. And most of all, it's going to resonate and it's going to inspire. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to What's the Rate? I'm Breonn Lyons, your host, and we will see you on the next episode.